Become your own rescue. Stop waiting. Start building. Look at your life right now. Really look at it. If you're not where you want to be, it's because you've been waiting for someone else to build it for you. That ends today. Introduction. The moment everything changes. There's a moment in everyone's life when they realize the truth. Nobody is coming to save them. For some, this realization comes early. For others, it arrives after decades of waiting, hoping, and wondering why life hasn't turned out the way they imagined. Maybe you're having that moment right now, listening to these words. Or maybe you've had it before but didn't know what to do with it. This book exists for that moment. I'm not here to motivate you with empty platitudes or convince you that positive thinking will magically transform your circumstances. I'm not selling you a get-rich-quick scheme or a miracle morning routine that will solve all your problems. Those things have their place, but they miss the fundamental issue that keeps most people stuck. The fundamental issue is this: you've been conditioned to wait for permission, for the right opportunity, for perfect conditions, for someone to notice your potential and give you a chance. You've been taught that if you're good enough, patient enough, and deserving enough, your moment will come. But here's what nobody told you. Your moment is right now. It always has been. And the person responsible for making something of it isn't your boss, your parents, your partner, the economy, or the universe. It's you. Why this book exists. I wrote this book because I was tired of watching capable, intelligent, talented people waste their lives waiting for external rescue. I was tired of seeing people with incredible potential sit on the sidelines, convinced they weren't ready yet, that they needed one more degree, one more certification, one more year of experience, one more sign that it was time to begin. Most self-help books tell you what to do. They give you strategies, tactics, and action steps, and those things matter. You'll find plenty of them in this book. But what they often miss is the deeper transformation that has to happen first. The shift from seeing yourself as someone who needs to be saved to seeing yourself as someone who can build their own solutions. That shift from waiting to building, from victim to architect, from hoping to creating, is what this book is really about. Who this book is for. This book is for you if you're tired of waiting for your life to start. You know you're capable of more but keep making excuses. You're stuck in analysis paralysis, endlessly planning but never executing. You've started and stopped projects repeatedly, never seeing them through. You blame your circumstances more than you take ownership of your outcomes. You look at successful people and think they got lucky rather than earned it. You're ready to stop hoping things get better and start making them better. This book is not for you if you're looking for a quick fix or life hack. You want someone to tell you it's not your fault and nothing needs to change. You're not willing to take uncomfortable action. You're more interested in feeling good than in actual transformation. You want theory without application. Be honest about which category you're in. If you're in the second category, this book will frustrate you. Save yourself the time. But if you're in the first category, if you're genuinely ready to stop waiting and start building, then keep reading. What follows will change how you see yourself and what you're capable of, what you'll learn. This book is structured as a journey from where you are now to who you need to become. Each chapter builds on the previous one, creating a comprehensive system for self-rescue. Chapters 1 to 2 address the mindset shift, understanding why we wait and how to take radical ownership of everything in our lives. Chapters 3 to 5 focus on building, establishing the foundation, developing the builder's mindset, and designing your life deliberately instead of defaulting into it. Chapters 6 to 8 tackle execution, finding courage to start imperfectly, navigating resistance and obstacles, and building momentum through systems. Chapters 9 to 10 expand your perspective, understanding compound returns and integrating everything into a sustainable practice of being your own rescue. Each chapter includes practical strategies, real-world examples, and specific actions you can take immediately. This isn't a book you read and put on a shelf, it's a manual you implement. How to use this book? Here's what I recommend. First, read. Go through the entire book once to understand the complete framework. Don't try to implement everything at once. Just absorb the concepts and see how they connect. Second, read. Go chapter by chapter, implementing one major principle before moving to the next. Give yourself at least a week per chapter to practice the concepts. Ongoing reference. Keep this book accessible. When you face challenges, return to the relevant chapter. When you catch yourself waiting instead of building, reread the sections that address that pattern. Most importantly, take action as you read. Don't wait until you've finished the book to start. If Chapter 2 gives you an exercise, do it before moving to Chapter 3. If Chapter 5 challenges you to design something, design it. The transformation happens through action, not through passive consumption. A warning and a promise. The warning. This book will make you uncomfortable. It will challenge excuses you've been using for years. It will ask you to take responsibility for things you've blamed on others. It will demand action when you want to keep planning. If you're not ready for that discomfort, you won't get the value this book offers. The promise. If you do the work, if you take ownership, build your foundation, develop the mindset, and take consistent action despite fear and resistance, your life will transform. Not overnight, not magically, but genuinely and permanently. You'll become someone who builds solutions instead of waiting for them. You'll develop the capability to handle whatever life throws at you. You'll stop hoping for rescue and become your own rescue. That transformation is available to you. It always has been. But it requires you to stop waiting and start building. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Waiting Trap. You've been lied to. Not maliciously, perhaps, but lied to nonetheless. You've been told that if you work hard, someone will notice. That if you're patient, your moment will come. That if you're a good person, good things will happen to you. And maybe, in a perfect world, that would be true. But this isn't a perfect world. This is the real world. And in the real world, nobody is keeping score. Nobody is tracking your sacrifices, counting your late nights, or tallying up your good deeds to reward you later. The universe doesn't owe you anything, and it's definitely not coming to save you. I know this sounds harsh, maybe even cruel, but here's the thing. Recognizing this truth is the most liberating moment of your life. Because once you stop waiting for external validation, external rescue, external permission, you finally realize something profound. You already have everything you need. The psychology of waiting. Let's talk about why we wait in the first place. Human beings are pattern-seeking creatures. From childhood, we're conditioned to believe in cause and effect, in fairness, in eventual justice. We watch movies where the underdog wins. We read stories where persistence pays off. We hear speeches about how your time will come. This creates what psychologists call learned helplessness. The belief that our actions don't really matter, that outcomes are determined by external forces beyond our control. We become passive participants in our own lives, waiting for the right opportunity to appear, the perfect moment to start, someone to give us permission, conditions to become ideal, our talents to be discovered, luck to finally find us. But here's what actually happens while you wait. Other people build. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, someone else is taking imperfect action. While you're hoping to be discovered, someone else is promoting themselves shamelessly. While you're waiting for permission, someone else is asking for forgiveness later. The cost of waiting. Every day you spend waiting is a day you'll never get back. Let that sink in. You're not in a holding pattern, you're in decline. Because standing still in a moving world means you're actually moving backward. Think about where you were 5 years ago. What were you waiting for then? Now think about where you are today. Did waiting get you where you wanted to be, or are you still waiting for the same things, just with 5 fewer years to make them happen? The cost of waiting isn't just time, it's momentum. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Your muscles of action atrophy. Your tolerance for discomfort decreases. You become comfortable being uncomfortable, which is the most dangerous place to be. Opportunity. Windows close, markets shift, trends pass. That idea you had 5 years ago? Someone else had it too, and they didn't wait. They're living your dream life because they didn't need permission to start living it. Self-respect. Deep down, you know you're capable of more. Every day you don't act on that knowledge chips away at your self-esteem. You start to believe your own excuses. You begin to identify as someone who could have been rather than someone who is bombassi. Belief. The more you wait, the less you believe in yourself. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You wait because you don't believe you're ready. You don't believe you're ready because you've been waiting so long without results. The illusion of readiness. Here's a secret that successful people understand. Nobody is ever ready. Nobody feels fully qualified. Nobody has all the answers before they start. The only difference between people who succeed and people who don't is that successful people start anyway. You think you're waiting to be ready, but what you're really waiting for is certainty. You want a guarantee that if you try, you'll succeed. You want to know that your effort won't be wasted, that you won't look foolish, that you won't fail publicly. But certainty is a myth. It doesn't exist. Demanding certainty before you act is just a sophisticated way of guaranteeing you'll never act at all. Think about it. When were you ready to learn to walk? You weren't. You fell hundreds of times. When were you ready for your first day of school? You weren't. You were terrified. When were you ready for your first kiss, your first job, your first heartbreak? You weren't ready for any of it, yet here you are. You survived. You grew. You learned. Not because you waited until you were ready, but because you acted, even though you weren't. The permission paradox. We spend our entire lives seeking permission. Permission from our parents to make our own choices. Permission from teachers to think differently. Permission from bosses to contribute ideas. Permission from society to live unconventionally. Permission from our peers to stand out. But here's the paradox. The people whose permission you seek didn't wait for permission themselves. They gave themselves permission to be bold, to be different, to take risks. And now you're asking them to give you what they simply took for themselves. The permission you're waiting for doesn't exist. It's not real. It's a ghost you've created to justify your inaction. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you can stop waiting and start building. The rescue fantasy. We all have this fantasy buried somewhere in our psyche. Someone will discover our potential. A mentor will take us under their wing. A lucky break will change everything. A wealthy relative will pass away and leave us an inheritance. The lottery ticket will hit, The algorithm will favor us. The universe will align. This is the rescue fantasy, and it's poison. It keeps you in a state of perpetual waiting, perpetual hoping, perpetual disappointment. Because even when good things do happen, and they will, they won't magically transform your life unless you've already built the foundation to receive them. Lottery winners go broke. Discovered talents flame out. Lucky breaks get squandered. Why? Because external rescue doesn't create internal transformation. You can't be saved into success. You can only build yourself into it. The decision. So, here we are, at the moment of truth. You have a choice to make, and it's the most important choice of your life. Will you continue waiting for someone else to build your life for you, or will you become your own rescue? This isn't motivational fluff. This isn't a pep talk that will fade by tomorrow. This is a fundamental restructuring of how you see yourself and your place in the world. This is the moment you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being an architect of destiny. Nobody is coming. The cavalry isn't arriving. The perfect moment isn't around the corner. There is only you right now with the choice to build or to wait. What will it be? Chapter 2. Taking radical ownership. The moment you stop waiting is the moment you must start owning. And I mean owning everything. Not just the good stuff, not just the parts you're proud of, but all of it. Every success, every failure, every circumstance, every outcome. This is what I call radical ownership. And it's the foundation of building yourself from the ground up. The blame game. Let's be honest about something. Blaming other people feels good. It feels righteous. When you can point to external factors that held you back, you get to preserve your self-image while explaining away your lack of results. It's comfortable, it's socially acceptable, and it's absolutely destroying your potential. Think about the narratives you tell yourself. I didn't get the promotion because my boss plays favorites. I can't start my business because I don't have enough capital. I'm not in shape because I don't have time to work out. I can't pursue my passion because I have bills to pay. My relationship failed because my partner didn't appreciate me. I'm stuck in this city because I can't afford to move. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Some of these things might actually be true. Your boss might play favorites. You might not have capital. You might have bills to pay. But here's what's also true. As long as you're focused on these external factors, you're powerless to change them. Radical ownership flips the script entirely. It says, even if external factors contributed to where you are 100% responsible for what you do about it. The liberation of ownership. Taking ownership of everything in your life sounds like a burden, but it's actually incredibly freeing. Here's why. When you blame external factors, you give away your power. You make yourself a victim of circumstance. But when you own everything, you suddenly have the power to change everything. Let's revisit those narratives with radical ownership. I didn't get the promotion because I haven't made myself indispensable enough yet. What value can I add that makes me the obvious choice? I don't have business capital yet because I haven't proven the concept or built an audience that would attract investors. What can I build with $0 that demonstrates my idea's potential? I'm not in shape because I haven't prioritized it. What can I do with 15 minutes a day right now in my living room? I haven't pursued my passion because I'm afraid of temporary discomfort. What would happen if I lived lean for 2 years to build what I really want? My relationship failed because I didn't communicate my needs clearly or choose a compatible partner. What do I need to learn about myself before the next one? I'm in this city because I haven't taken the risk of moving. What's the actual worst-case scenario, and can I recover from it? See the difference? In the first set, you're powerless. In the second set, you have agency. You have options. You have a path forward. The ownership equation. Radical ownership operates on a simple equation. Your life equals your choices plus your responses. That's it. Everything in your life can be traced back to choices you made and how you responded to circumstances. Even the things that seem completely outside your control, your childhood, your genetics, accidents, other people's actions, only matter in terms of how you choose to respond to them. Consider two people who grow up in similar difficult circumstances. One becomes a victim, forever explaining their struggles through the lens of their past. The other becomes a victor, using their past as fuel for their future. Same circumstances, different responses, completely different lives. The difference isn't luck, it's ownership. Practical exercise. The ownership audit. Here's how you start practicing radical ownership today. I want you to take out a piece of paper and divide it into 2 columns. Column 1, where I am. Write down everything in your life you're not satisfied with. Be specific. Not my career sucks, but I'm earning $45,000 when I need $75,000 and I hate my daily tasks. Not I'm unhappy, but I feel unfulfilled because I haven't created anything meaningful in 3 years. Column 2, my contribution. For each item, in column 1, write down every choice you made and every response you chose that contributed to this situation. This is uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Example, where I am. Earning $45,000, need $75,000. Hate my daily tasks. My contribution. Accepted the first job offer without negotiating. Haven't asked for a raise in 2 years. Haven't developed new skills that would justify higher pay. Haven't applied to other positions. Haven't built a side income stream. Spend 3 hours per night watching TV instead of learning or building. Fear of rejection prevents me from advocating for myself. This isn't about beating yourself up. This is about recognizing your power. Every item in that My Contribution column represents something you can change. Every single one is within your control. The victim-victor spectrum. We all slide back and forth on the victim-victor spectrum. Sometimes you operate from ownership. Sometimes you slip into blame. The key is recognizing which mode you're in and consciously choosing to shift. Victim mode sounds like, I can't because it's not fair that if only they would, I would, but it's too hard, late, expensive. Victor mode sounds like, I will figure out how to. What can I do with what I have? What am I not seeing yet? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to become? Start noticing your language. When you catch yourself in victim mode, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, how would I approach this if I took full ownership? The 100% responsibility rule. Here's a rule that will change your life if you apply it consistently. Take 100% responsibility for everything in your life, even the things that weren't your fault. Wait, especially the things that weren't your fault. Someone rear-ends your car, not your fault, but you're 100% responsible for how you handle the insurance claim, the repairs, the rental car, and your emotional response. Company downsizes and you lose your job. Not your fault, but you're 100% responsible for your job search, your skill development, your financial planning, and your mindset during the transition. Partner cheats on you? Not your fault, but you're 100% responsible for how you heal, what you learn, who you become, and the boundaries you set in future relationships. This isn't about deserving bad things or causing them. This is about refusing to give away your power by waiting for external circumstances to fix themselves. Ownership in relationships. Radical ownership transforms your relationships. Most relationship conflicts stem from each person waiting for the other to change first. I'll be more affectionate when they're more appreciative. I'll help more around the house when they stop nagging me. This is relationship stalemate, and it can last for years. Radical ownership says, I will be the person I want my partner to be. I will show up fully, regardless of whether they do. I will communicate my needs clearly instead of hoping they'll read my mind. I will take responsibility for my happiness instead of making them responsible for it. One of two things happens when you do this. Either your relationship transforms because you've modeled the behavior you want to see, or you realize the relationship isn't aligned with who you're becoming. Either way, you win, because you're no longer stuck in waiting mode. Ownership in career. In your career, radical ownership means you stop waiting for annual reviews to ask for what you're worth, your boss to notice your contributions, the company to provide training, the perfect role to open up, permission to lead projects. Instead, you document your value and request compensation discussions proactively. Communicate your wins clearly and consistently. Invest in your own skill development. Create the role you want by demonstrating its value. Lead from wherever you are. I've seen people transform dead-end jobs into launching pads simply by taking ownership of their growth and contribution instead of waiting for the organization to develop them. Ownership in health. Your health is perhaps the clearest example of radical ownership. Nobody can exercise for you, nobody can eat healthy for you, nobody can prioritize your sleep for you, yet so many people wait for the right diet to trend, for motivation to strike, for a gym to open nearby, for a doctor to fix them, for life to calm down enough to prioritize health. Meanwhile, their body is responding to the choices they're making right now. The body doesn't wait for you to be ready. It's building or deteriorating based on what you feed it, how you move it, and how you rest it. Today, right now, this moment. The ownership challenge. Here's your challenge for this chapter. For the next 7 days, practice responding to everything with ownership instead of blame. Every time something goes wrong, ask yourself, how did I contribute to this? And what will I do about it? Traffic makes you late? Own it. Leave earlier tomorrow. Someone criticizes you? Own it. Extract the useful feedback and discard the rest. Project fails? Own it. What will you learn and apply next time? Feel tired and unmotivated? Own it. What choices led here, and what changes will you make? This isn't about perfection. You'll slip. You'll blame. You'll make excuses. That's fine. Just notice it. Own the slip itself and course correct. By the end of 7 days, you'll feel different. You'll feel powerful. Because you'll realize that if you have the power to contribute to your problems, you also have the power to create your solutions. That's what ownership gives you. Power. Not power over others, not power over circumstances, but power over yourself. And that's the only power that actually matters. Chapter 3. Building your foundation. Now that you understand the waiting trap and have committed to radical ownership, it's time to build. But here's where most people get it wrong. They try to build a skyscraper on sand. They want the impressive results without the unglamorous foundation. They want the transformation without the fundamentals. You can't skip this part. The foundation is everything. It's not sexy, it's not Instagram worthy, and it won't impress anyone for a while. But it's what determines whether everything you build on top of it stands or crumbles. The foundation framework. Think of your life as a structure. If that structure is going to withstand storms, support growth, and last for decades, it needs a foundation built on 4 cornerstones: physical stability, mental clarity, emotional resilience, financial security. Most people neglect at least 2 of these, then wonder why their life feels unstable. They're trying to build success on a foundation with missing pieces, and they can't figure out why nothing holds. Let's build each cornerstone properly. Cornerstone 1. Physical stability. Your body is the vehicle for everything else. You can't build an empire from a hospital bed. You can't pursue your dreams if you don't have energy. You can't think clearly if you're nutritionally depleted or chronically exhausted. Yet physical health is the first thing people sacrifice when they get busy. They skip workouts, survive on coffee and convenience food, sacrifice sleep, and then wonder why they feel like they're running in mud. The non-negotiables. Sleep, 7 to 8 hours per night, consistently. Not, I'll catch up on the weekend. Not, I'm fine on 5 hours. Your brain physically cannot consolidate learning, regulate emotions, or make good decisions without adequate sleep. This is non-negotiable. Movement, 30 minutes per day minimum. It doesn't have to be a gym. Walk, do body weight exercises at home, dance, play sports, whatever. Your body was designed to move. When it doesn't, everything suffers. Your mood, your energy, your health markers, your longevity. Nutrition. Eat real food. Mostly plants, not too much. You don't need a complex diet plan. You need to stop eating like a teenager and start fueling your body like the high-performance machine it is. Protein, vegetables, healthy fats, whole grains. Water instead of sugar. Most of the time. It's not complicated. The 30-day physical reset. Here's how you build physical stability starting today. Week 1. Fix your sleep schedule. Same bedtime, same wake time, every day. Remove screens 1 hour before bed. Make your room dark and cool. Week 2. Add movement. Start with just 10 minutes per day if that's where you are. Walk around your block. Do 5 push-ups and 10 squats. Something is infinitely better than nothing. Week 3. Upgrade your nutrition. Don't try to be perfect. Just make 1 meal per day healthier than you normally would. That's it. Week 4. Combine and stabilize. Keep the sleep schedule. Increase movement to 20 to 30 minutes. Make 2 meals per day healthy. Notice how different you feel. This isn't about becoming an athlete. This is about having the energy and clarity to build everything else. You don't need to be exceptional here. You just need to be consistent. Cornerstone 2. Mental clarity. Your mind is the tool you use to build your life. When that tool is cluttered, distracted, and overwhelmed, you can't build anything of quality. Mental clarity comes from 3 practices. Focused. Time. You need blocks of uninterrupted time to think, create, and plan. Not time where you're multitasking, which is actually task switching and makes you stupid. Real, focused time. Start with 1 hour per day of completely focused work. No phone, no notifications, no interruptions. If you can't do 1 hour, you're addicted to distraction, and you need to fix that before you can build anything significant. Information diet. You're consuming mental junk food constantly. Social media feeds designed to addict you. News designed to enrage you. Content designed to make you feel inadequate. Entertainment designed to keep you sedated. This isn't moral judgment. This is practical reality. If you consume garbage inputs, you'll produce garbage outputs. Your mind becomes what it consumes. Audit everything you consume. Does this make me smarter, stronger, or more capable? Does this align with who I'm trying to become? Would I be proud if my consumption history was published? Cut ruthlessly. Unfollow, unsubscribe, delete apps. If it's not adding value, it's subtracting it. Reflection practice. You can't have mental clarity without regularly examining your thoughts. Most people live on autopilot, never questioning their assumptions, beliefs, or patterns. Spend 10 minutes per day in reflection. What did I learn today? What worked well? What didn't work? What will I do differently tomorrow? What am I avoiding that I need to address? This isn't journaling as therapy. This is journaling as strategic planning. You're debugging your own operating system. Cornerstone 3. Emotional resilience. Building anything worthwhile is emotionally difficult. You'll face rejection, failure, criticism, setbacks, and your own self-doubt. If you crumble every time things get hard, you can't build anything that lasts. Emotional resilience isn't about becoming emotionless or tough. It's about developing the capacity to feel difficult emotions without being derailed by them. The resilience formula. Expect difficulty. Most people approach challenges with the expectation that things should be easy, then get demoralized when they're not. This is backwards. Difficulty is the default. Easy is the exception. Reframe every challenge as, of course this is hard. That's why most people don't do it. That's why it's valuable. Process emotions, don't suppress them. When you feel fear, anger, sadness, or frustration, acknowledge it. Name it. I'm feeling anxious about this presentation. I'm frustrated that this project isn't working. Then ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What action does it suggest? Fear might indicate you need more preparation. Frustration might indicate you need a different approach. Sadness might indicate you need to grieve a loss before moving forward. Emotions are information. Process them, extract the insight, then return to action. Build your emotional stamina. Start deliberately doing things that make you uncomfortable. Have difficult conversations. Ask for things you might be rejected from. Try things you might fail at. Make decisions without having all the information. Each time you survive emotional discomfort, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. Your capacity grows. What used to derail you for days now barely slows you down. Create emotional anchors. When you're in the storm, you need anchors. Reliable practices that ground you. These might be a specific playlist that shifts your mood, a friend who always gives you perspective, a physical place that calms you, a breathing technique that centers you, a reminder of past challenges you've overcome. Build your anchor collection before you need it. Cornerstone 4. Financial security. Money isn't everything, but financial instability prevents you from building anything else. When you're constantly stressed about money, you can't think strategically. You make desperate decisions. You can't take necessary risks. You can't invest in yourself. Financial security doesn't mean being rich. It means having enough runway to build without panic. The 3 levels of financial stability. Level 1. Breathing room. 1 month of expenses saved. This keeps you from living paycheck to paycheck and allows you to handle minor emergencies without crisis. Level 2. Foundation. 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. This allows you to take calculated risks, invest in skill development, and weather job loss without immediate panic. Level 3. Freedom. 12 months of expenses saved, plus income that exceeds expenses. This is where you have real options. You can start a business. You can change careers. You can leave toxic situations. You have leverage. Building financial stability. If you're at level 0, which is where most people are, here's your roadmap. Month 1 to 3. Audit and optimize. Track every dollar you spend for 30 days. Identify expenses you can eliminate without significantly impacting your life. Redirect that money to savings automatically. Month 4 to 6. Increase value. Document your contributions at work. Request a raise or promotion. If denied, start applying elsewhere. You're more valuable than you think. Start a side income stream with existing skills. Month 7 to 12. Build buffer. Save aggressively toward level 1, 1 month expenses. Avoid lifestyle inflation when income increases. Continue building skill that increases earning potential. Year 2. Accelerate. Move from level 1 to level 2, 3 to 6 months expenses. Increase income through promotion, job change, or side income growth. Begin investing excess income. This isn't quick, and it isn't sexy, but it's real. And it works if you do it consistently. The foundation maintenance schedule. Building your foundation isn't a one-time project. It requires consistent maintenance. Here's your weekly maintenance schedule. Daily, 30 minutes total. 10 minutes focused. Reflection, 20 minutes physical movement. Weekly, 2 to 3 hours total. 1 hour focused learning or skill development. 1 hour financial review and planning. 30 minutes relationship maintenance, calls, quality time, etc. 30 minutes space organization, physical and digital. Monthly, half day. Review progress on all 4 cornerstones. Adjust strategies based on what's working. Plan next month's priorities and actions. Check in on long-term goals and vision. This might seem like a lot, but let's be real. You're already spending this much time. You're just spending it on consumption instead of construction. You're scrolling, watching, and avoiding instead of building. When your foundation cracks, your foundation will crack. Life will throw curveballs. You'll get sick, face emergencies, experience losses. The foundation isn't about preventing these things. It's about having the stability to handle them without complete collapse. When one cornerstone weakens, the others have to compensate. If you lose financial stability, your physical and mental health better be strong enough to rebuild it. If your mental health suffers, your physical routine and financial buffer need to support you through it. This is why you build all 4, not just the ones that come naturally or feel urgent right now. The foundation test. Here's how you know your foundation is solid. When unexpected challenges arise, you think, "This is difficult, but I can handle it," instead of, "This is impossible, and I'm going to fall apart." You're not building a foundation to avoid problems. You're building it so you can solve problems without being destroyed by them. And once your foundation is stable, you can build anything on top of it. Career changes, businesses, relationships, creative projects, everything becomes possible when you're not constantly scrambling to keep your basic life together. Real-world foundation building. Case studies. Case study. The career changer. Meet Sarah. She was 32, working a job she hated, living paycheck to paycheck, stressed and overweight. She wanted to change careers into tech, but felt trapped by her circumstances. Instead of making a dramatic leap, Sarah spent 6 months building her foundation. Physical. She started walking 20 minutes every morning before work. No gym required. Within 3 months, she had more energy than she'd had in years. She meal prepped on Sundays. Nothing fancy, just grilled chicken, rice and vegetables portioned for the week. Mental. She deleted social media from her phone and used that reclaimed time for learning. 1 hour per evening she studied coding through free online resources. No distractions, just focused learning. Emotional. She joined a career change support group online. When she felt like quitting, which was weekly at first, she had people who understood the struggle and reminded her why she started. Financial. She cut her expenses ruthlessly, moved to a smaller apartment with lower rent, cancelled subscriptions, started a side hustle doing freelance administrative work. In 6 months, she saved $5,000, enough runway to take a 3-month boot camp without going into debt. By month 6, Sarah's foundation was solid. She quit her job, completed an intensive coding boot camp, and within 3 months of graduating, landed a junior developer position, making 40% more than her previous job. The foundation made the transition possible. Without it, she would have crashed under the pressure. Case Study 2. The Entrepreneur. Marcus wanted to start a business but had no money, no network, and a family depending on his income. He couldn't take the typical startup risk. His foundation approach. Physical. Woke up at 5 a.m. to work out before his family woke up. This wasn't optional. He needed the energy and mental clarity to work his day job and build his business at night. Mental. Used his commute for learning. Downloaded podcasts and audiobooks about entrepreneurship. 45 minutes each way equals 90 minutes of education per day, 7.5 hours per week, 390 hours per year. That's a business education without paying tuition. Emotional. Found a co-founder who shared his vision and complementary skills. Having a partner meant on days when he wanted to quit, someone else was there to carry the torch. They held each other accountable. Financial. Kept his day job, but negotiated down to 4 days per week, taking a 20% pay cut. That one day became his business-building day. He saved aggressively for 2 years, building a 12-month emergency fund, so when the business was ready to scale, he could go full-time without endangering his family's security. 3 years later, Marcus's business was generating more revenue than his previous salary, but it was the 2 years of foundation building that made it possible. Without that base, he would have failed, or never started at all. The Foundation Accountability System. Building your foundation alone is hard. Here's a system to keep yourself accountable. The weekly check-in. Every Sunday evening, rate yourself 1 to 10 on each cornerstone. Physical stability, sleep, nutrition, movement quality, mental clarity, focus time, information diet, reflection practice, emotional resilience, discomfort, tolerance, emotion processing, response to setbacks, financial security, savings rate, income growth, expense management. If any score is below 5, that's your focus area for the coming week. You can't build long-term if your foundation is crumbling. The monthly deep dive. Once per month, do a comprehensive review. What worked well across all 4 cornerstones? What needs adjustment? What patterns am I noticing? Am I maintaining balance or over-focusing on one area? What's the next level goal for each cornerstone? Document this in a journal or spreadsheet. Over time, you'll see patterns that help you optimize your approach. The quarterly reset. Every 3 months, completely reassess. Is my foundation stronger than 3 months ago? What habits have become automatic? What habits am I still struggling with? Do I need to redesign any systems? What's preventing me from reaching the next level? Use this reset to make strategic adjustments before small cracks become major problems. Common foundation mistakes. Mistake 1. Trying to perfect one cornerstone. Don't spend all your energy on physical health while your finances crumble. Don't obsess over financial security while your health deteriorates. All 4 cornerstones need to be functional. Better to have all 4 at 6 out of 10 than 1 at 10 out of 10 and the others at 2 out of 10. Mistake 2. Building too fast. Foundation work is slow. If you're trying to transform everything overnight, you'll burn out and quit. Better to improve 1% per week for a year than to go all in for a month and then give up. Mistake 3. Neglecting maintenance. Foundation work is never done. You don't build it once and move on. You maintain it forever. The moment you stop prioritizing the basics, they start deteriorating. Maintenance must become part of your identity. Mistake 4. Comparing your foundation to others. You're not building your foundation to impress anyone. You're building it to support your specific goals and life. Someone else might need a different balance of cornerstones. Focus on what you need, not what others have. The foundation resilience test. Want to know if your foundation is truly solid? Ask yourself these questions. 1. If I lost my job tomorrow, would I panic or would I have a plan? 2. If I got sick for a week, would my life fall apart? 3. If I faced harsh criticism, would I crumble or could I process it and continue? 4. If my routine was disrupted for a month, could I rebuild it quickly? 5. If an opportunity required immediate action, would I be ready? If you answered panic, fall apart, or crumble to any of these, your foundation needs more work. Keep building, keep strengthening. Because these scenarios aren't hypothetical, they're inevitable. That's what this chapter is about. Not the glamorous stuff, not the exciting transformations, but the boring, essential, unglamorous work of making yourself stable enough to build everything else. Do this work. Take it seriously, because everything that comes after depends on it. Chapter 4. The Builder's Mindset. You've stopped waiting. You've taken ownership. You've built your foundation. Now comes the transformation that separates people who try from people who succeed. Developing the builder's mindset. The builder's mindset is fundamentally different from the consumer mindset most people operate from. Consumers ask, "What can I get?" Builders ask, "What can I create?" Consumers wait for opportunities. Builders create opportunities. Consumers react to their environment. Builders shape their environment. This chapter is about rewiring your brain to think like a builder in every situation. From consumer to creator. Look at how you spent the last 24 hours. How much time did you spend consuming versus creating? Consuming looks like scrolling social media, watching videos or TV, reading news, playing games, shopping, listening to music passively, chatting without purpose. Creating looks like writing, coding, designing, building a skill through practice, developing a project or business, having strategic conversations, problem solving actively, Learning with immediate application. Teaching others what you know. Most people spend 80% of their time consuming and 20% creating. Builders flip this ratio. They might consume 20 to 30% of their time for learning, inspiration, and rest, but 70 to 80% is spent in creation mode. The shift happens when you start asking yourself, how can I turn this consumption into creation? Watching a great video. Create a summary and share what you learned. Reading an article, write your own take or implementation plan. Enjoying a product, study how it's made and create your own version. Admiring someone's success, reverse engineer their process and adapt it. The 3 questions of builders. Builders approach every situation with 3 questions. 1. What's broken here and how can I fix it? Builders are problem finders and problem solvers. They don't complain about what's broken. They see broken things as opportunities. Every problem is a potential business, product, skill, or service. Your job is boring and inefficient? Don't just complain. Document the inefficiencies and propose solutions. Either you'll improve your current situation or you'll gain experience in process improvement that makes you more valuable elsewhere. Your industry has a gap. Don't wait for someone to fill it. That's your opportunity. 2. What can I build with what I have right now? Builders don't wait for perfect conditions. They work with what's available. They're resourceful, not resource dependent. Don't have money to start a business? Build an audience first. Create content, provide value for free, establish credibility. The money comes later. Don't have the right network? Start connecting people in your existing network. Become valuable through curation and connection. Don't have credentials? Build a portfolio of work that demonstrates capability. In the internet age, proven results matter more than degrees. The question isn't, what do I need? It's, what can I do with what I have? 3. Who do I need to become to make this happen? This is the most important question. Builders understand that every goal requires a specific version of themselves. If you're not achieving what you want, it's usually because you're not yet the person capable of achieving it. Want to run a successful business? You need to become someone who can sell, lead, make hard decisions, and tolerate uncertainty. Want an amazing relationship? You need to become someone who communicates clearly, maintains boundaries, and doesn't require external validation. Want financial freedom? You need to become someone who delays gratification, invests wisely, and creates value for others. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is always a gap in identity, not just circumstances. Bias. Toward action. Builders have an overwhelming bias toward action. They don't overthink, overplan, or overprepare. They prototype quickly, test rapidly, and learn by doing. This is hard for most people because we're trained to avoid failure. We're taught that mistakes are bad, that we should get it right the first time, that preparation prevents problems. But in the real world, the only way to learn anything meaningful is through action and feedback. You can't think your way to success. You can only act your way there. The 48-hour rule: when you have an idea or goal, you have 48 hours to take a concrete action toward it, not to finish it, just to start. After 48 hours, if you haven't acted, the idea dies. This forces you to either commit or let go. Examples of concrete actions. Want to write a book? Write the first 500 words. Want to start a business? Write a one-page business plan or create a landing page. Want to learn a skill? Schedule the first lesson or complete the first tutorial. Want to change careers? Update your resume and reach out to one person in that field. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence enables bigger actions. Embracing the messy middle. Here's what nobody tells you about building. The middle is always messy. The beginning is exciting. You're full of hope and energy. The end is rewarding. You get to see results and celebrate. But the middle is where most people quit. The middle is where progress slows down. Results aren't visible yet. The initial excitement fades. Doubt creeps in. The work gets boring. Nobody's cheering for you. You question if it's worth it. Builders expect the messy middle. They know it's coming. They don't interpret it as a sign they should quit. They interpret it as a sign they're exactly where they should be. Navigating the middle. Reframe the grind. The messy middle isn't punishment, it's the filter. It's what separates people who want results from people who are willing to earn them. If it were easy, everyone would do it, and it wouldn't be valuable. Focus on process, not outcomes. You can't control when results appear, but you can control whether you show up today. Make your metric of success. Did I do the work? Not, did I see results? Document progress. In the middle, progress feels invisible. Keep a record of what you've done. Review it when you doubt yourself. You're further than you think. Find the fun in fundamentals. The middle is mostly fundamentals, repetitive, basic work. Find ways to enjoy it. Compete with yourself. Gamify it. Celebrate small improvements. The compound effect. Builders understand that success isn't linear, it's exponential. When you first start building, you work hard and see minimal results. This is when most people quit. They put in effort and don't see proportional output, so they assume it's not working. But builders know about the compound effect. Every action you take is a brick. The first 100 bricks don't look like much, but around brick 500, you start seeing a wall. At brick 1000, you have a structure. At brick 5000, you have an empire. The results compound over time, but only if you don't quit during the period where the compounding isn't visible yet. Real-world examples. You write every day for 6 months and get 50 readers. Then month 7, you get 500. Month 12, you get 5,000. The work was consistent, but the results were exponential. You apply to 100 jobs and get rejected 99 times. The 100th job changes your life. The value wasn't in each application, it was in the compound effort of persistence. You invest $500 per month for 10 years at 8% return. The first few years your balance grows slowly, but by year 10 you have over $90,000 because of compounding. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Showing up every day builds exponentially. Showing up intensely for a week, then disappearing for a month, resets your progress to 0. Iteration. Over-perfection builders ship. They release. They publish. They put things out into the world before they're perfect because they understand that version 1.0 is always terrible. And that's fine. Perfectionists never ship. They endlessly refine, waiting for perfection that never comes. Meanwhile, builders are on version 5.0, having learned from the real-world feedback that only comes from shipping. The 80-20 rule for building. Get something to 80% quality, then release it. Learn from real feedback. Iterate to 90%. Release again. Iterate to 95%. Each iteration is informed by actual use, not hypothetical perfection. This applies to everything. Products. Launch with core features Add more based on user feedback. Skills. Get decent quickly, then refine through practice. Content. Publish consistently, improve quality over time. Relationships. Start conversations imperfectly, deepen them through iteration. Building in public. One of the most powerful accelerators of the builder's mindset is building in public, sharing your process, progress, and lessons as you build. This is uncomfortable because it means showing your work before it's perfect. It means admitting you don't have all the answers. It means being vulnerable to criticism. But it also means accountability. You're more likely to follow through when others are watching. Feedback. You get real-time input that helps you improve faster. Connection. You attract others who are interested in what you're building. Documentation. You create a record of your journey that becomes valuable content. Opportunities. People can't help or collaborate if they don't know what you're doing. Start sharing your process on whatever platform makes sense for your goals. Tweet your daily progress. Write blog posts about what you're learning. Record videos of your journey. Create a newsletter documenting your experiments. The magic isn't in the perfection of what you share, it's in the consistency and authenticity of sharing. The builder's response to failure. Failure isn't something that happens to builders. It's something they do intentionally and frequently. They fail faster than everyone else because they try more things. They fail publicly because they're not hiding. They fail forward because they extract lessons from every failure. When builders fail, they ask, what specifically didn't work? What assumptions were wrong? What did I learn? What will I do differently? What's the next experiment? They don't ask, why did this happen to me? Who's to blame? Does this mean I'm not good enough? Should I quit? See the difference? One set of questions moves forward. The other stays stuck. Daily builder practices. Here's how you develop the builder's mindset through daily practice. Morning. Set creation. Intention. Before consuming anything, decide what you'll create today. One thing. Could be a paragraph, a design, a piece of code, a conversation, a solution. Name it. Commit to it. Midday. Progress check. Did you create what you intended? If yes, what's next? If no, what's blocking you? And how can you eliminate or work around it? Evening. Document and reflect. What did you build today? What did you learn? What will you apply tomorrow? This takes 5 minutes and compounds dramatically over time. Weekly. Share one thing. Every week, share something you built, learned, or figured out. Tweet it, post it, email it to a friend. Get comfortable putting your work into the world. The identity shift. The builder's mindset isn't just a set of practices, it's an identity shift. You start seeing yourself differently. Instead of I want to be a writer, you become I am a writer who writes every day. Instead of I wish I could build a business, you become I am an entrepreneur who experiments constantly. This shift happens through action, not affirmation. You don't become a builder by saying you are one. You become a builder by building. Every day you take action, you reinforce this identity. Every day you don't, you reinforce the old one. The choice is always yours. Chapter 5. Designing your life deliberately. Most people don't design their lives. They default into them. They take the job that's offered, live where they end up, adopt the lifestyle that's expected, and wonder why they feel unfulfilled. Builders design deliberately. They make conscious choices about what their life looks like, knowing that default decisions lead to default results. This chapter is about taking control of the design of your life in 5 key areas: time, environment, relationships, learning, and identity. Designing your time. Time is your most valuable resource because it's the only one you can't get more of. Yet most people treat it carelessly, letting others decide how it's spent. The time audit. Track every hour for 1 week. Categorize each hour. Creation, building, learning, developing. Maintenance. Essential life tasks: cooking, cleaning, errands. Relationship. Quality time with important people. Recovery. Exercise, sleep, genuine rest. Waste. Mindless consumption, avoiding, numbing. Be ruthlessly honest. Social media isn't relationship time unless you're having meaningful conversations. Binge watching isn't recovery if you're using it to avoid something. Most people discover they're spending 20 to 40 hours per week on waste. That's a part-time job's worth of time that could be redirected to building. The ideal week template. Create a template for your ideal week. Not perfect, ideal within your current constraints. Assign your time. Creation, 20 to 30 hours minimum. Maintenance, 10 to 15 hours. Relationships, 10 to 15 hours. Recovery, 7 to 10 hours, including sleep. Waste, 5 hours maximum. You need some unstructured time. Then ruthlessly protect your creation time. This is non-negotiable time for building what matters. Treat it like your most important meeting, because it is. The power of morning hours. The first 3 hours after you wake up are golden. Your willpower is highest, your focus is sharpest, your creativity is strongest. How you use these hours determines what you build. Builders front-load creation. They do their most important work in the morning before the world has a chance to interrupt them with its urgency. Example: morning routine. 6 to 6:30 a.m. Wake, water, movement. 6:30 to 7 a.m. Reflection, planning. 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Deep creation work. 10 a.m. plus everything else. Try this for 2 weeks. Your output will shock you. Designing your environment. Your environment shapes you constantly. The people around you, the content you consume, the physical spaces you occupy, the systems you use, all of it influences who you become. Builders design environments that make desired behaviors easy and undesired behaviors difficult. Physical space. Your workspace should scream, "Creation happens here." No distractions, all tools ready, everything organized. When you sit down, there's zero friction between you and productive work. Your living space should support the life you want. If you want to be healthy, your kitchen should make healthy eating easy. If you want to read more, books should be visible and accessible, while the TV should be harder to turn on. Digital environment. Audit your apps, subscriptions, and notifications. If something doesn't actively support your goals, delete it. Your phone should be a tool, not a slot machine. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Use app timers. Put time-wasting apps in folders requiring multiple clicks to access. Make creation easier than consumption. Content diet. Follow people who inspire action, not people who inspire envy or anger. Subscribe to content that teaches, not content that merely entertains. Read books that challenge you, not books that just confirm what you already think. You become the average of what you consume. Design that average intentionally. Systems and habits. Create systems that make good decisions. Automatic. Automate savings so you invest before you can spend. Meal prep. So healthy eating is the easy choice. Schedule workouts like appointments so they're non-negotiable. Use implementation intentions. When X happens, I will do Y. The best decisions are ones you only make once by creating a system. Designing your relationships. Jim Rohn said you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't motivational fluff, it's observable reality. Your relationships determine your standards, your beliefs, your opportunities, and your identity. Choose them deliberately. The relationship audit. List the 10 people you spend the most time with. For each, honestly assess. Do they inspire me to grow? Do they support my goals? Do they challenge me constructively? Do I become better or worse around them? Do they drain or energize me? Now the hard part. You need to create distance from relationships that don't support who you're becoming and invest more in relationships that do. This doesn't mean being ruthless or unkind. It means being intentional. It means saying no to plans that don't align with your goals. It means reducing time with negative influences. It means being honest about which relationships are based on who you were, not who you're becoming. Building your counsel. Intentionally cultivate relationships with people who are 2 to 5 years ahead of you on a path you want to walk. Challenge your thinking without dismissing you. Celebrate your wins without jealousy. Hold you accountable with compassion. Operate from abundance, not scarcity. These people don't have to be close friends. They can be mentors, coaches, colleagues, online connections. What matters is regular contact and mutual value exchange. Adding value first. The best way to build relationships with impressive people is to add value first, without expecting anything in return. Share their work. Introduce them to useful connections. Solve a problem they have. Provide feedback on their projects. Be genuinely interested in their success. When you consistently add value, opportunities emerge naturally. Designing your learning. Most people stop deliberately learning after formal education ends. They accidentally learn from experience, but they don't systematically build knowledge and skills. Builders are learning machines. They treat learning as a strategic advantage. The 10-hour rule. You can become conversationally competent in any skill with 10 hours of focused practice. You won't be an expert, but you'll understand fundamentals and know how to continue learning. Commit 10 hours to learning something new every month. That's 2.5 hours per week, completely doable. In 1 year, you'll have functional knowledge of 12 new skills. The learning stack. Build skills in layers, where each layer enhances the others. Foundation layer. Communication, critical thinking, learning how to learn. Professional layer. Skills specific to your field or desired field. Leverage layer. Skills that multiply your output. Coding, design, marketing, teaching. Unique layer. Skills that differentiate you from everyone else. Don't just learn randomly. Stack skills that compound each other's value. Implementation learning. The best learning has immediate application. Don't learn for the sake of learning. Learn to build something specific. Want to learn Python? Build a tool you'll actually use. Want to learn marketing? Market your own project. Want to learn negotiation? Negotiate your next purchase or salary. Learning without application is entertainment. Learning with application is transformation. Designing your identity. This is the most powerful form of design, consciously choosing who you're becoming. Most people let identity happen to them. They adopt labels from their circumstances, their past, their fears. I'm not good at math. I'm an introvert. I'm not creative. I'm bad with money. These identities become self-fulfilling prophecies. You act consistently with your identity, which reinforces the identity, which drives more consistent actions. Identity-based goals. Instead of setting outcome goals, lose 20 pounds, set identity goals. Become someone who prioritizes health. Then ask, what would someone who prioritizes health do in this situation? Someone who prioritizes health would choose the salad over fries. Someone who prioritizes health would go to bed on time. Someone who prioritizes health would exercise even when they don't feel like it. Every small action becomes a vote for the identity you want to inhabit. The identity statement. Write a clear statement of who you're becoming. I am someone who takes consistent action on my goals, delivers exceptional value in my work, maintains my physical and mental health, builds genuine relationships, learns continuously, takes ownership of outcomes, creates more than I consume. Read this daily, not as affirmation, but as reminder. Then ask, did my actions today align with this identity? The deliberate life plan. Now put it all together. Design your life deliberately by answering these questions. 3-year vision. Where do I want to be in 3 years? What do I want to have built? Who do I want to have become? What does a typical day look like? 1-year milestones. What needs to happen this year to be on track for the 3-year vision? What skills need to be developed? What relationships need to be built? What projects need to be completed? 90-day sprints. What's the one focus area for this quarter? What are the 3 key results that would make this quarter successful? What are the weekly actions required? Weekly actions. Based on the 90-day plan, what must happen this week? What time blocks are allocated to these priorities? What could derail me, and how will I prevent that? Review and adjust this plan quarterly. Your vision might evolve, and that's fine. The point is to have a deliberate direction instead of drifting. Living by design versus default. The difference between a designed life and a default life becomes clear over time. Default. Life looks like reacting to whatever comes up, wondering where the time went, feeling busy but not productive, having vague dreams but no plan, being shaped by circumstances, hoping things will get better. Designed life looks like proactively creating what matters, using time intentionally, feeling purposeful and effective, having clear goals and progress markers, shaping circumstances, making things better. You don't get a designed life by accident. You get it by making deliberate choices consistently, even when it's uncomfortable. And that's what this chapter is about. Taking full ownership of the design of your life instead of accepting whatever design others impose on you. Chapter 6. The courage to start imperfectly. You know what you need to do. You've built the foundation, developed the mindset, designed your plan. But there's still one thing stopping you, the fear of starting before you're ready. This chapter is about finding the courage to begin anyway, imperfectly, messily, without knowing how it will turn out. The perfectionism trap. Perfectionism masquerades as high standards, but it's actually fear wearing a fancy disguise. It's not that you want to do excellent work, it's that you're terrified of doing bad work and being judged for it. So you wait, you research more, you plan more, you prepare more, you tell yourself you're being responsible, thorough, professional. But what you're really doing is avoiding the discomfort of putting yourself out there. Here's the truth. Perfectionism produces nothing. It's procrastination in a suit and tie. It keeps you stuck in preparation mode forever, protecting you from failure by also preventing any possibility of success. The perfectionism audit. Ask yourself honestly, how long have I been planning this project? What am I waiting to have before I start? If I had that thing, would I start immediately, or would I find another reason to wait? What am I really afraid will happen if I start now? Most of the time, perfectionism is protecting you from imaginary catastrophes. Nobody cares as much about your work as you think they will, at least not initially. Most people won't notice at all, and the few who do notice will judge you far less harshly than you judge yourself. The courage equation. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite fear. The equation is simple. Courage equals action in the presence of fear. You don't need to feel confident to be courageous. You don't need to be ready. You just need to move. Think about every courageous thing you've ever done. You didn't do it because you felt confident. You did it despite feeling terrified. You asked someone out despite fear of rejection. You applied for the job despite feeling unqualified. You moved to a new city despite feeling uncertain. The feeling of confidence comes after courageous action, not before. Starting small is still starting. You don't have to start with the big, scary version. You can start with the smallest possible version that still counts as starting. Want to start a business? Don't quit your job and invest your life savings. Create a landing page and try to get 10 people to sign up for your idea. Want to become a writer? Don't try to write a novel. Write 200 words today. Want to get in shape? Don't commit to the gym 5 days a week. Do 10 minutes of exercise today. Want to change careers? Don't leap into the unknown. Do one informational interview with someone in your target field. The smallest version removes the excuse of it's too big to start. It makes starting so easy that perfectionism has nowhere to hide. The launch, learn, iterate cycle. Here's how builders actually build. 1. Launch. Put something incomplete into the world. 2. Learn. Gather real feedback from real people. 3. Iterate. Improve based on what you learned. 4. Repeat. Launch the improved version. Most people never get past step 0, endless planning. Builders skip to step 1 as fast as possible because they know that's where real learning begins. You cannot learn what works by thinking about it. You can only learn by testing it. Every launch, no matter how imperfect, teaches you more than any amount of planning. Embracing public failure. One of the biggest fears that keeps people from starting is the fear of public failure. What if you try and it doesn't work? What if people see you fail? What if you look foolish? Here's what actually happens when you fail publicly. Almost nothing. Some people might notice. A few might judge. Most won't care. And a select few will actually respect you more for trying. But your life continues, your identity remains intact, and you have valuable experience that people who never tried don't have. Meanwhile, private failure, the failure of never trying, is catastrophic. It's a life unlived, potential unrealized, dreams deferred until they die. That's the real failure, and nobody sees it but you. Reframing failure. Failed launches aren't failures. They're experiments. Criticism isn't attack. It's feedback. Setbacks aren't endings. They're course corrections. Rejection isn't personal. It's information. When you reframe failure this way, it loses its power over you. The 20-second rule. When fear is stopping you from starting, use the 20-second rule. If you can start within 20 seconds, you must start. Don't think about whether you're ready. Don't analyze whether it's the right time. Don't give your brain time to generate excuses. Count down from 20 and launch. This works because fear needs time to build. If you act before fear peaks, you can bypass the paralysis. Nervous about sending that email? 20 seconds. Send. Afraid to publish that post? 20 seconds. Publish. Worried about starting that project? 20 seconds. Open the document. Anxious about making that call? 20 seconds. Dial. Action creates momentum. Momentum dissolves fear. Permission to be a beginner. You're going to be bad at first. This is non-negotiable. Everyone who's ever mastered anything was terrible when they started. The only difference between masters and people who never start is that masters gave themselves permission to be bad. Your first version will be embarrassing compared to your 10th version. But your 10th version won't exist if you don't create the first. Give yourself explicit permission to be a beginner. Say it out loud. I'm allowed to be bad at this while I learn. The courage practices. Build courage like a muscle through regular practice. Daily discomfort. Do one thing every day that makes you uncomfortable. Have an awkward conversation. Ask for something you're afraid to ask for. Try something new where you'll be bad at it. Post something you're nervous about. Each act of courage makes the next one slightly easier. Rejection. Practice. Seek out rejection deliberately. Apply for things you think you won't get. Ask for discounts. Propose ambitious ideas. Make offers that might get turned down. The goal isn't to get rejected, it's to discover that rejection doesn't destroy you. Once you learn this, you become unstoppable. Progress over perfection. Measure yourself by action taken, not quality achieved. Did you publish something? That's success, regardless of how good it is. Did you launch? That's success, regardless of the results. You're building the courage muscle. Quality comes later, starting today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not when you're ready. Today. What's the smallest possible version you can start right now, in the next hour? Do that. Then do the next smallest thing tomorrow. That's how everything great gets built. One imperfect step after another, by people who were scared but moved anyway. Chapter 7. Navigating resistance and obstacles. Starting is hard, but continuing, that's where most people break. You'll start with enthusiasm. You'll make initial progress. You'll feel proud of yourself. Then resistance arrives, sometimes as external obstacles, more often as internal sabotage. And suddenly, continuing feels impossible. This chapter is about recognizing resistance in all its forms and developing the strategies to push through it. The many faces of resistance. Resistance is sophisticated. It doesn't usually show up as obvious fear. It disguises itself as rationality, responsibility, or even self-care. Here are its most common masks. I need more information first. This sounds responsible, but if you've been researching for months without acting, you're not being thorough. You're avoiding. Action creates better information than any amount of research. Now isn't the right time. There will never be a perfect time. There will always be reasons to wait. If you've been saying this for more than a month, it's resistance. I need to focus on this other priority first. Sometimes legitimate, often resistance in disguise. Ask yourself, is this actually more important or just more comfortable? I should rest and practice self-care. Real self-care rebuilds you. Avoidance disguised as self-care drains you. If your rest leaves you feeling guilty and depleted, it's not rest, it's escape. This approach might not work. I should try a different strategy. Constant strategy switching is resistance. No strategy works if you abandon it before giving it time to compound. I don't have the energy/motivation right now. Motivation is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it. You build energy by moving, not by waiting to feel energized. Learn to recognize these patterns. When you catch yourself using these phrases, ask, is this wisdom or is this resistance? The dip. Seth Godin calls it the dip. That period after the excitement fades but before the results appear. This is where most people quit, right before the breakthrough. The dip feels like nothing is working. Progress has stopped. You're working hard with no visible results. Everyone else seems to be succeeding faster. Maybe you're just not cut out for this. The dip is a feature, not a bug. It's the filter that separates people who want something from people who will do whatever it takes to get it. Navigating the dip. Expect it. Know it's coming. When you hit it, recognize it for what it is. A normal part of the process, not a sign you should quit. Trust the process. Your actions are accumulating even when results aren't visible. You're building compound interest. The graph of your progress isn't linear, it's exponential, with a long, flat beginning before the hockey stick. Reduce friction. The dip is where willpower is lowest. Make your critical actions as easy as possible. Remove obstacles. Simplify. Lower the bar temporarily if needed, but keep moving. Find evidence. Look for micro progress. Did you show up today? That's progress. Did you learn something? Progress. Did you improve 1% over yesterday? Progress. Train yourself to see progress even when it's small. Connect with others in the dip. Find people who are building similar things. Share the struggle. You'll realize you're not alone, and their perseverance will fuel yours. External obstacles. Some resistance comes from the outside. Lack of resources, unsupportive people, systemic barriers, unexpected setbacks. These are real, and they matter. But they're not usually the thing that stops you. Your response to them is. The obstacle exercise. List every external obstacle stopping you from your goal. Then, for each one, answer 1. Is this actually insurmountable or just difficult? 2. Has anyone ever succeeded despite this obstacle? 3. What creative solutions could work around this? 4. What could I do with constraints instead of waiting for ideal conditions? 5. Is this obstacle growing because I'm not addressing it? Most external obstacles are solvable with creativity, persistence, or a willingness to do things differently than you initially imagined. Case study. Resource constraints. I don't have money to start is one of the most common obstacles. And yes, Some things genuinely require capital, but most things can be started with zero money if you're willing to trade time and creativity instead. Want to start a business? Provide services before products. Your time is your capital. Need education? Internet has courses, books, and mentors willing to help for free if you provide value. Want equipment? Borrow, rent, or use free alternatives until revenue justifies purchasing. Need a team? Find partners who see the vision and will work for equity or future payment. The constraint isn't usually money, it's your unwillingness to start small and build from there. Internal obstacles. More dangerous than external obstacles are internal ones. Self-doubt, fear, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotage. Self-doubt. That voice saying, "Who am I to do this?" or "I'm not qualified," or "Someone else could do this better." Counter it with, "I'm someone who cares enough to try. My qualification is my willingness to learn. Someone else might do it better eventually, but they're not doing it now, and these people need what I have to offer." You don't need to be the best. You need to be helpful. Start there. Imposter syndrome. The feeling that you're faking it and will be exposed. Here's the secret. Everyone feels this way, even incredibly successful people. It doesn't go away. You just get better at acting despite it. Reframe it. Imposter syndrome means you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. That's exactly where growth happens. Feeling like an imposter isn't a stop sign. It's a sign you're on the right path. Fear of success. Sounds counterintuitive, but fear of success stops people more than fear of failure. Success means visibility, responsibility, change, new problems, pressure to maintain it. Acknowledge this fear, then ask, is staying small and safe really better than growing into my potential? Usually, the answer is clear. Self-sabotage. The unconscious ways you undermine yourself. Procrastinating on important tasks. Picking fights before big opportunities. Getting sick before launches. Creating drama that distracts from progress. Deliberately doing things you know won't work. Self-sabotage usually stems from unworthiness. Some part of you doesn't believe you deserve success, so it protects you from the disappointment by ensuring you fail. The antidote is self-compassion combined with awareness. Notice when you're self-sabotaging, acknowledge it without judgment, then choose differently. I'm afraid of this, and I'm doing it anyway. The Resistance Toolkit. Here are practical tools for pushing through resistance when it strikes. The 5-minute rule. When you don't want to do something, commit to just 5 minutes. Usually, starting breaks the resistance. Once you're 5 minutes in, continuing is easier than stopping. The future self letter. When resistance is strong, write a letter from your future self, the one who pushed through and succeeded, to your current self. What would that version of you say? Usually something like, "I'm so glad you didn't quit. It was hard, but so worth it." The consequence list. Write 2 lists, consequences of pushing through versus consequences of giving up. Be specific and honest. Temporary discomfort versus lifelong regret usually clarifies things. The accountability partner. Share your commitment with someone who will check on you. Knowing you'll have to report progress, or lack of it, adds external motivation when internal motivation fails. The streak. Track your consistency visibly. Put an X on the calendar for every day you take action. The streak becomes its own motivation. You don't want to break it. The reward system. Give yourself meaningful rewards for pushing through resistance. Not food or shopping, but experiences or privileges that reinforce your identity as someone who follows through. When to pivot says when to persist. Not all resistance should be pushed through. Sometimes resistance is information, a signal that you're on the wrong path or using the wrong approach. Persist when the goal still aligns with your values and vision. You're in the dip, hard but making progress. Resistance is primarily internal: fear, doubt, discomfort. You haven't given it enough time to compound. You're learning and improving, even if results aren't showing yet. Pivot when the goal no longer aligns with who you're becoming. You've genuinely tested the approach and it's not working. The cost, health, relationships, ethics, is too high. New information reveals a better path. You're repeating the same mistakes without learning. The key question: am I persisting towards something meaningful, or am I being stubborn about something that no longer serves me? Building resistance immunity. The more you face resistance and push through, the less power it has over you. You're building resistance immunity, the capacity to feel resistance without being stopped by it. This happens through repeated exposure, doing hard things regularly, reframing, seeing resistance as information, not instruction, identity reinforcement, proving to yourself you're someone who follows through, perspective, remembering past challenges you overcame. Eventually, resistance becomes background noise. You notice it, acknowledge it, and move anyway. It stops being a decision and becomes just how you operate. The anti-fragile approach. Nassim Taleb introduced the concept of anti-fragility. Systems that get stronger from stress and chaos rather than being harmed by it. You can become anti-fragile with obstacles. Instead of being broken by resistance, you can use it to build strength. Each obstacle you overcome increases your confidence. Each failure teaches you what doesn't work. Each setback reveals gaps you need to fill. Each criticism helps you refine your approach. The obstacle becomes the way forward, but only if you engage with it rather than avoid it. Moving through, not around. Most people try to avoid resistance. They wait for it to go away, hope for easier paths, or quit when it shows up. Builders move through resistance. They feel it, acknowledge it, and take action anyway. Not because they're fearless, but because they're committed to something bigger than their comfort. This is what separates people who build lasting things from people who start and stop repeatedly. It's not talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the willingness to keep moving when everything in you wants to stop. Advanced resistance techniques. The resistance journal. When you feel stuck, write out a dialogue between two parts of yourself. The resistant part. I don't want to do this. It's too hard. Maybe it's not worth it. The builder part. I understand you're afraid, but we've committed to this. What specifically are you afraid of? The resistant part. I'm afraid I'll fail and look stupid. The builder part. And if that happens, what would we do? The resistant part. I guess we'd learn something and try again. The builder part. Exactly. So the only way to actually fail is to not try. Let's do this. This technique externalizes the resistance, making it easier to address rationally rather than being consumed by it emotionally. The preemptive strike. Don't wait for resistance to ambush you. Schedule time to address it head on. Every evening, write down 3 resistances you anticipate facing tomorrow. For each, write your response. Tomorrow's resistance. I won't feel like working out. My response. I'll put my workout clothes on immediately after waking up. I only need to commit to 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I can stop if I want. Tomorrow's resistance. That email conversation is going to be uncomfortable. My response. I'll write it first thing in the morning before my brain has time to catastrophize it. I'll send it immediately without rereading 10 times. By planning your response in advance, you remove the decision-making burden in the moment. The momentum anchor. Create a physical anchor that represents your commitment. This could be a specific piece of clothing you wear when doing your important work, a particular spot where you always work on your goals, a ritual you perform before starting, specific playlist, lighting a candle, etc. An object you hold that reminds you of why you're building. When resistance strikes, engage with your anchor. Put on the clothing, sit in the spot, perform the ritual, hold the object. This creates a psychological pattern that helps override resistance. The public declaration. Resistance thrives in private. It loves secrecy because it can't be held accountable. Make your commitments public. Tell specific people what you're building and when you'll have progress to show. The external accountability creates a different kind of pressure, one that can override internal resistance. Post on social media. For the next 30 days, I'm doing X every day. Holding myself accountable publicly. Tell a friend, check in with me next Friday. I'll show you what I've built this week. Join a group. Find others building similar things and commit to regular progress updates. The Resistance Reframe Library. Keep a collection of reframes for common resistance thoughts. Resistance. I'm not good enough yet. Reframe. I'm exactly where I need to be. B. Everyone good at this started not good at this. Resistance. What if I fail? Reframe. What if I succeed, and either way I'll learn something valuable? Resistance. This is taking too long. Reframe. Worthwhile things take time. Every day I work is a day closer to the result. Resistance. People might judge me. Reframe. People who judge are usually not building anything themselves. I'm focused on progress, not approval. Resistance. I'm too tired. Reframe. I'll feel more energized after I start. Momentum creates energy. Resistance. This is harder than I thought. Reframe. Good. That means it's valuable. Easy things don't transform you. Add to this library every time you successfully overcome resistance. Build your arsenal. That's the skill this chapter builds. The capacity to continue when it's hard, to push through when it's uncomfortable, to persist when results aren't visible yet. Because that's where everything meaningful is built. In the space between wanting to quit and choosing to continue. Chapter 8. Building Momentum and Systems. You've started. You've pushed through initial resistance. Now the question becomes, how do you maintain this? How do you build something sustainable instead of another false start that fizzles out? The answer is momentum and systems. Motivation is what gets you started, but momentum and systems are what keep you going. Understanding momentum. Momentum is the most underrated force in building your life. When you have momentum, everything feels easier. Ideas flow. Energy is high. Progress feels natural. You're in the zone and you want to keep going. When you lack momentum, everything is a struggle. Starting feels impossible. Continuing feels pointless. You need massive willpower for tiny actions. The difference between these two states isn't your inherent capability, it's momentum. The physics of personal momentum. Just like physical momentum, mass x velocity, personal momentum comes from the weight of your actions. Are you doing significant things? The speed of your actions. Are you acting consistently? Small actions done consistently build more momentum than large actions done sporadically. This is why write 200 words daily beats write a chapter when inspired. The consistency creates velocity. Building initial momentum. When you're starting from zero momentum, you need a specific strategy. Week 1. Ultra-low threshold. Your only goal is to show up. Make the action so small that you can't fail. Want to build a fitness habit? Put on workout clothes. That's it. Want to write? Open the document. Want to build a business? Spend 10 minutes on your project. You're not trying to accomplish anything impressive. You're trying to establish the rhythm of showing up. Week 2. Minimum viable action. Now do the smallest possible meaningful action. Fitness, 5 push-ups and a 5-minute walk. Writing, 100 words. Business, 1 task from your list. Still easy, but now you're creating real output. The momentum is building. Week 3 to 4, incremental increase. Add 10 to 20% to your action each week. Week 3, 10 push-ups and 10-minute walk. Week 4, 15 push-ups and 15-minute walk. The increase is small enough to maintain, but substantial enough to feel progress. Month 2. Plus. Sustainable rhythm. Now you have momentum. The action feels natural. You can maintain or continue increasing based on capacity. The momentum rule. Never let 2 days pass without taking action. Missing 1 day is maintenance. Missing 2 days breaks momentum. Missing 3 days means you're starting over. Creating systems that work. Momentum gets you moving. Systems keep you moving without constant decision-making and willpower. A system is a set of processes that produce consistent results regardless of your motivation level. When you have good systems, you make progress even on days when you don't feel like it. The anatomy of an effective system. Trigger. Something that automatically initiates the behavior. Action. The specific behavior you want to repeat. Reward. Something that reinforces the behavior. Tracking. A way to measure whether you did it. Example. Writing system. Trigger. Morning coffee. Coffee equals. Writing time. Action. Write 300 words. Reward. Check off the day on your calendar, creating a visible streak. Tracking. Word count spreadsheet showing total progress. The system removes decision-making. When the trigger happens, you do the action. No negotiation with yourself, no willpower drain, just execution. Habit stacking. One of the most powerful system-building techniques is habit stacking, attaching new behaviors to existing ones. Formula. After existing habit, I will new habit. Examples. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 300 words. After I brush my teeth at night, I will lay out tomorrow's workout clothes. After I close my laptop for the day, I will review my progress and plan tomorrow. After I eat lunch, I will spend 15 minutes learning something new. This works because you're leveraging existing neural pathways. You don't have to remember to do the new thing. The existing habit triggers it automatically. The weekly system. Daily momentum is important, but weekly systems create sustainable progress. Sunday planning session, 30 minutes. Review last week. What worked? What didn't? Define this week's top 3 priorities. Schedule specific time blocks for each priority. Identify potential obstacles and plan around them. Set clear success metrics. Daily execution. First 10 minutes of day. Review today's priorities. Visualize successfully completing them. Remove the biggest obstacle preventing you from starting. Begin immediately on priority number 1. Friday. Review 20 minutes. Celebrate wins from the week. Extract lessons from failures. Document progress, numbers, accomplishments, learning. Note patterns, energy levels, productivity peaks, common obstacles. This weekly system ensures you're not just busy, you're building strategically. The power of environment design. Your environment either supports your systems or sabotages them. Design it to make desired behaviors automatic and undesired behaviors difficult. For focus. Remove phone from workspace. Use website blockers during focus time. Create a specific workstation that signals focus mode. Use noise-cancelling headphones or specific music to trigger flow state. For health, pre-portion healthy snacks. Put workout clothes next to bed. Fill water bottle each morning and keep it visible. Make unhealthy options require extra steps. Store junk food in hard-to-reach places. For learning, keep books, learning materials more accessible than entertainment. Subscribe to high-quality content, unsubscribe from low quality. Set phone to grayscale to reduce social media appeal. Use app timers to limit time-wasting apps. Small environmental changes compound into massive behavioral changes. Tracking and measurement. What gets measured gets managed. You need visibility into whether your systems are working. Metrics that matter. Input. Metrics. Actions you control. Days you executed your system. Hours spent in focused work. Number of iterations/experiments. Consistency streak length. Output. Metrics. Results produced. Revenue, audience, fitness markers, whatever you're building. Skills acquired. Projects completed. Relationships deepened. Focus primarily on input metrics. You control those. Output metrics will follow if your inputs are consistent. The dashboard approach. Create a simple one-page dashboard you check weekly. Key input metrics. Did I do the work? Key output metrics. What results am I seeing? Streak counter. Days of consistency. Progress toward goals. Percentage complete. Energy levels. Sustainable pace. This gives you a clear picture of whether you're building or drifting. The compound effect in action. With momentum and systems in place, you unlock the compound effect. Small actions repeated consistently create exponential results. Real examples. Year 1. Write 300 words daily equals 109,500 words equals first book draft complete. Year 2. Same pace equals second book plus refined skills equals published author. Year 3. Same pace equals third book plus audience built equals full-time writer. Month 1. Save $200 equals $200 saved. Month 12. Save $200 monthly equals $2,400 saved. Year 5. Save $200 monthly at 8% return equals $15,000 plus saved. Week 1. 3 workouts equals slightly sore. Month 6. 3 workouts weekly equals visible changes, increased energy. Year 2. 3 workouts. Weekly equals transformed body and relationship with fitness. The actions are the same throughout. The results compound over time. When systems break, your systems will break. Life will happen. You'll get sick, face emergencies, or simply burn out. This is normal. System recovery protocol. 1. Don't spiral. Missing your system for a few days doesn't erase your progress. 2. Restart small. Return to week 1 levels. Ultra low threshold. 3. Investigate. What caused the break? Burnout? Poor design? External crisis? 4. Adjust. Redesign the system to prevent similar breaks. 5. Resume. Get back on track quickly, even if imperfectly. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people isn't that successful people never break their systems, it's that they restart quickly. Building multiple systems. As you master one system, you can add others. But be strategic. Year 1. Master 1 to 2 core systems. Health plus core skill or career. Year 2. Add 1 to 2 more. Relationships plus learning. Year 3. Add 1 to 2 more. Creativity plus contribution. Don't try to optimize everything at once. Master one system, make it automatic, then add the next. The automated life. The goal isn't to become a robot. The goal is to make your desired behaviors so systematic that they require minimal willpower, freeing that willpower for creative work and problem solving. When your health is systematic, you don't waste energy deciding whether to exercise. You just do. When your productivity is systematic, you don't waste energy deciding what to work on. You just start. When your learning is systematic, you don't waste energy deciding whether to study, you just engage. This automation of basics creates capacity for exceptional work on the things that matter most. The long game. Systems and momentum are how you play the long game. They're not flashy. They don't make good social media content. They're not exciting to talk about at parties. But 5 years from now, when you've built something substantial while others are still planning to start, you'll understand the power of boring consistency. Systems are how you stop relying on motivation and start building regardless of how you feel. Momentum is how you make building feel easier over time. Together, they're how you become your own rescue, not through heroic bursts of effort, but through sustainable, systematic progress that compounds into transformation. Chapter 9. The Compound Return. You've been building for months now, maybe longer. The foundation is solid. Your systems are running. You're showing up consistently. But you might be wondering, when do the results arrive? When does all this effort actually pay off? This chapter is about understanding the timeline of transformation and recognizing the compound returns that are already accumulating, even if you can't see them yet. The deceptive curve of growth. Most people expect linear growth, work harder, get proportionally better results, do twice the work, get twice the outcome. This expectation destroys more dreams than lack of talent or opportunity ever could. Real growth doesn't work that way. Real growth follows an exponential curve. Months 1 to 6. Massive effort, minimal visible results. You're building underground. Others can't see your progress. Sometimes you can't either. This is where 90% of people quit. Months 6 to 12. Small results start appearing. Not impressive yet, but real. You can see proof that your work matters. This sustains you through the next phase. Months 12 to 24. Momentum becomes visible. Results accelerate. Things that were hard become easier. Opportunities start appearing. You're not trying anymore. You're doing. Years 2 to 5. Exponential growth kicks in. Your effort compounds. Each new action builds on everything you've done before. Results that seemed impossible at the beginning now feel inevitable. Years 5 plus. You've become the person your past self couldn't imagine. The compound returns are so significant that others think you got lucky, not realizing they're seeing the visible part of a multi-year underground build. The trap is expecting year 3 results in month 3. The wisdom is understanding that you're always in the right place. You just can't see the whole curve from where you're standing. Recognizing hidden returns. Just because returns aren't visible doesn't mean they aren't accumulating. Here's what's actually happening during those nothing is working months. Skill compounding. Every hour of practice makes the next hour more productive. Your first 100 hours of coding, writing, or any skill feel inefficient because you're building fundamental neural pathways. But hour 101 is more valuable than hour 1 because of everything that came before. Network. Compounding. Every person you help, every value you provide, every genuine connection you make is adding to an invisible network. Eventually, opportunities emerge from this network, but only after you've invested months or years without obvious return. Reputation. Compounding. Every piece of work you ship, every commitment you keep, every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you're building a reputation. First with yourself, self-trust. Then with others, credibility. This reputation eventually opens doors that seemed impossible. Knowledge. Compounding. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every experience you accumulate connects with everything else. Early on, knowledge feels scattered. Later, it forms a web where everything relates to everything else, and you can connect ideas others can't see. Resilience compounding. Every challenge you overcome, every failure you survive, every fear you act despite, you're building emotional resilience. Your capacity for difficulty increases. What would have destroyed you in year 1 barely slows you down in year 3. These returns are accumulating right now, even if your bank account or follow account doesn't reflect it yet. The Valley of Disappointment. James Clear calls it the Valley of Disappointment, that period where your effort has significantly exceeded your results. You've worked hard, but you're not even back to 0 yet. You're in the negative, having invested time and energy without visible return. This valley kills dreams, because in the valley, every rational analysis suggests you should quit. I've been doing this for 6 months and have nothing to show for it. Other people succeed faster than this. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. This isn't working. But here's what you can't see from inside the valley. You're not in the negative. You're in the compound phase. Your effort is accumulating below the surface, building the foundation for exponential growth that's coming. The valley is the price of admission to exponential returns. You can't skip it. You can only cross it. Crossing the valley. Trust the lag. Results lag behind effort. Always. The lag time varies by what you're building, but it's always longer than you want. Trust it anyway. Measure inputs, not outcomes. You control your actions. You don't control when results appear. Focus on whether you did the work today, not whether you got results today. Find micro returns. Look for the smallest signs of progress. A slightly better piece of work than last month. One person who found value in what you created. A moment where something felt easier than before. Connect with others in the valley. Find people building similar things. Share the struggle. Remind each other that valleys are normal, temporary, and necessary. Reframe the timeline. Instead of 6 months and nothing to show, try 6 months of foundation built that will support everything I create for the next decade. The inflection point. At some point, and you can't predict exactly when, you hit an inflection point. Everything that's been accumulating suddenly becomes visible. Results start arriving faster than you expected. Opportunities appear. Things click. This isn't luck. This is the compound effect finally surfacing. What the inflection point feels like. Tasks that took hours now take minutes. Opportunities start finding you instead of you chasing them. People seek your advice or expertise. Your work feels easier but produces better results. Confidence replaces doubt as your default state. You have evidence that your systems work. Why people miss their inflection point. They quit in the valley, days or weeks before the inflection would have arrived. They see others hitting their inflection point and think they got lucky or they're more talented, not realizing those people simply stayed in the valley longer. The second-order effects. As your compound returns grow, second-order effects emerge, results you didn't directly build, but that emerged from what you did build. Examples. You built writing skills, first order. Now you're a clearer thinker in all areas of life, second order. You built a business, first order. Now you have a network of entrepreneurs who create opportunities together, second order. You built fitness habits, first order. Now you have mental toughness that applies to every challenge, second order. You built financial stability, first order. Now you have the freedom to take strategic risks, second order. These second-order effects are often more valuable than the original goal, but you can't access them without first building the first-order result. Maintaining returns. Once you reach the inflection point, maintaining returns requires different strategies than building them. Protect your systems. The systems that got you here need to be maintained. Success makes it tempting to abandon the boring basics. Don't. Resist lifestyle inflation. As returns grow, so does temptation to increase spending, complexity, and commitments. Resist this. Keep your life simple enough to maintain focus on what matters. Reinvest returns. Some of your returns should fuel the next level of growth. Money, time, or opportunities. Reinvest a portion into developing the next skill, building the next project, or deepening key relationships. Stay hungry. Success can breed complacency. Intentionally maintain hunger by setting new goals, entering new domains, or taking on new challenges before you're comfortable. The 10-year horizon. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. Let's play this out. Assume modest but consistent improvement. Year 1, you're a beginner, struggling but learning. Year 2, you're competent, you know the basics, and can produce decent work. Year 3, you're skilled, you can handle complex challenges and your work stands out. Year 4, you're advanced, others seek your insight, opportunities find you. Year 5, you're an expert, you're in the top 10% of people doing this thing. Year 10, you're a master, you're in the top 1%. You're defining the field, not just participating in it. This trajectory isn't exceptional. It's normal for anyone who shows up consistently for a decade, but almost nobody does this because they quit in years 1 to 3 when returns aren't visible yet. The question isn't, can I do this? The question is, will I still be building this in year 3 when most people have quit? Compound everything. The compound effect doesn't just apply to money or skills, it applies to everything. Compound health. Every workout, meal, and sleep cycle builds your physical capacity. Compound relationships. Every genuine conversation, act of service, and moment of presence deepens bonds. Compound reputation. Every kept promise, delivered project, and moment of integrity builds trust. Compound knowledge. Every book, experience, and reflection expands your understanding. Compound creativity. Every iteration, experiment, and creation expands your creative range. You're not building one thing, you're building an entire life of compounding systems. Each one reinforces the others. Your health gives you energy for your work. Your work provides resources for your learning. Your learning improves your relationships. Your relationships provide opportunities for growth. Everything compounds together. The patience paradox. You need patience to let things compound, but you also need urgency to start now. These seem contradictory, but they're not. Be urgent about starting. The sooner you start, the sooner compounding begins. Every day you delay is compounding time lost. Be patient about results. Compounding needs time. Expecting fast results creates the impatience that makes you quit before compounding kicks in. Start urgently. Build patiently. That's the formula. The return on becoming. Here's the deepest truth about compound returns. The biggest return isn't what you build, it's who you become. You build a business, and the business might fail, but you become someone who knows how to build businesses. You develop a skill, and the skill might become obsolete, but you become someone who knows how to learn. You survive a failure, and the project dies, but you become someone who isn't destroyed by failure. The compound return on becoming is permanent. Everything external can be taken away. Who you've become cannot. This is why you should start even when success isn't guaranteed. Even if the project fails, you'll have compounded into a more capable version of yourself. That's a return that never stops paying. Chapter 10. Becoming your own rescue. We've covered a lot of ground. You understand the waiting trap. You've taken radical ownership. You've built your foundation, developed the builder's mindset, and designed your life deliberately. You've found courage to start imperfectly, learned to navigate resistance, and built systems that create momentum. You understand how compound returns work and why patience paired with urgency is essential. Now, in this final chapter, we bring it all together. Because becoming your own rescue isn't a destination. It's a continuous practice of showing up as the person you need to be. The identity transformation. At the beginning of this book, you were waiting. Maybe for opportunity, permission, the right circumstances. or someone to save you. Now, you understand that nobody is coming. And more importantly, you don't need them to. This is the fundamental identity shift. From, I am someone who needs to be rescued, to, I am someone who builds solutions. From, I am a victim of my circumstances, to, I am the architect of my life. From, I hope things get better, to, I make things better. This shift doesn't happen through affirmations or wishful thinking. It happens through accumulated evidence of your actions. Every time you take ownership, push through resistance, or build despite difficulty, you prove this new identity to yourself. Eventually, it's not something you're trying to become. It's simply who you are. The rescue mindset in daily life. Being your own rescue isn't about grand transformations. It's about how you approach ordinary moments. When something goes wrong. Rescue mindset. What can I do about this? Waiting mindset. Why did this happen to me? When you face a setback. Rescue mindset. What can I learn and how can I adapt? Waiting mindset. This always happens to me. When opportunity appears. Rescue mindset. I'm taking this even though I'm not fully ready. Waiting mindset. I need to prepare more first. When you need help. Rescue mindset. I'll ask for specific help while taking action myself. Waiting mindset. I'll wait for someone to notice I'm struggling. When you achieve something. Rescue mindset. I built this. What's next? Waiting mindset. I got lucky. I hope it lasts. The rescue mindset becomes your default operating system. You don't have to think about it. It's how you automatically respond. The 3 pillars of self-rescue. Long-term success in being your own rescue rests on 3 pillars. Neglect any one, and the whole structure becomes unstable. Pillar 1. Self-reliance. Self-reliance doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means being capable of solving your own problems while also knowing when to seek help. Self-reliant people develop broad competence, can do many things adequately. Learn to figure things out rather than needing explicit instruction. Take responsibility for their own growth and development. Don't wait for others to create opportunities for them. View obstacles as problems to solve, not reasons to stop. Pillar 2. Self-trust. Self-trust is believing in your ability to handle whatever comes. It's built through keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and do it, you build self-trust. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you erode it. Self-trusting people make fewer commitments, but keep the ones they make. Don't need external validation to move forward. Trust their judgment on important decisions. Recover quickly from mistakes because they trust they'll figure it out. Feel confident taking risks because they trust they'll handle the outcome. Pillar 3. Self-compassion. Self-rescue isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest with yourself while treating yourself with compassion. Self-compassionate people acknowledge mistakes without self-flagellation. Understand that struggle is part of growth, not evidence of inadequacy. Give themselves permission to be imperfect while still pursuing excellence. Rest and recover without guilt. Speak to themselves the way they'd speak to someone they love. These 3 pillars work together. Self-reliance without self-compassion becomes harsh self-judgment. Self-compassion without self-trust becomes excuse-making. Self-trust without self-reliance is delusional confidence. Balance all three, and you become unshakable. The continuous practice. Becoming your own rescue isn't something you achieve once and then you're done. It's a continuous practice because life continuously presents new challenges. The daily practice. Morning. Set your intention. What will I build today? Who do I need to be today? What challenge will I face with courage? Throughout the day, notice your responses. Am I taking ownership or making excuses? Am I moving forward or waiting? Am I acting from fear or from purpose? Evening. Reflect and adjust. Did I show up as my own rescue today? What would I do differently? What did I learn? This daily practice keeps you aligned with who you're becoming. Helping others without rescuing them. As you become your own rescue, you'll be tempted to rescue others. Don't. The greatest gift you can give others isn't solving their problems, it's showing them how to solve their own. Instead of rescuing others, share your process, not your solutions. Ask questions that help them think rather than giving answers. Support their efforts without taking over. Celebrate their wins without claiming credit. Hold space for their struggle without fixing it. You help others become their own rescue by modeling it, not by doing it for them. When life hits hard. Being your own rescue doesn't mean nothing bad happens. Life will still throw curveballs. You'll face loss, illness, betrayal, failure, heartbreak, and disappointment. The difference is in your response. When life hits hard, you, 1. Feel the emotion fully without being consumed by it. 2. Assess the situation honestly. 3. Identify what you can control. 4. Take action on what you can control. 5. Accept what you can't control. 6. Learn from the experience. 7. Keep building. You're not invulnerable. You're resilient. There's a difference. The long-term view. 10 years from now, what will your life look like if you commit to being your own rescue every single day? You'll have built things you currently can't imagine. You'll have developed capabilities that seem impossible now. You'll have overcome challenges you're not even aware exist yet. You'll have become someone your current self would be amazed by. Not because of luck, not because circumstances were perfect, but because you showed up, took ownership, and built deliberately, day after day after day. That's the long-term view. That's what's possible when you stop waiting and start building. The ripple effect. Here's something most people don't realize. When you become your own rescue, you give others permission to do the same. Your kids see you taking ownership and learn to do it themselves. Your colleagues see you taking initiative and start doing it too. Your friends see you building and get inspired to start their own projects. Your community sees what's possible and raises their standards. You're not just transforming your life, you're modeling a different way of existing in the world, and that ripples out in ways you'll never fully see. The final truth. Nobody is coming to save you. But here's what's equally true. You don't need them to. You have everything you need right now to start building the life you want. Not the perfect resources, not the ideal circumstances, not complete knowledge or guaranteed success, but enough to start. And starting imperfectly, uncomfortably, uncertainly, is how everything meaningful begins. The waiting is over. The excuses are exhausted. The perfect moment is a myth. There is only now, and the choice you make in this moment. Will you wait for someone else to build your life for you? Or will you become your own rescue? Your next steps. This book ends, but your building begins or continues. Here's what to do next. In the next 24 hours. 1. Choose one area of your life where you've been waiting. 2. Take one concrete action, no matter how small. 3. Commit to showing up again tomorrow. In the next week. 1. Complete your ownership audit. Chapter 2. 2. Begin building your foundation. Chapter 3. 3. Share one thing you're building publicly. In the next month. 1. Design your ideal week. Chapter 5. 2. Build your first system. Chapter 8. 3. Find one person who's building something and connect with them. In the next year. 1. Build consistently even when results aren't visible. 2. Trust the compound effect. 3. Become the person who doesn't need this book anymore because you've internalized its lessons. The mirror. Revisited. Remember where we started? Look at your life right now. Really look at it. If you're not where you want to be, you now know why. You've been waiting for someone else to build it for you. But you also know that ends today. Not because I said so, but because you're choosing to end it. Nobody is coming to save you, and that's the best news you could receive, because it means you get to be the hero of your own story. You get to build exactly what you want. You get to become exactly who you're meant to be. You are your own rescue. Now go build. Epilogue. 1 year later. 1 year from now, you'll look back at today. One of two things will be true. Scenario 1. You'll still be waiting. You'll have read this book, maybe felt inspired for a few days, then slipped back into old patterns. You'll still be hoping for the right opportunity, the perfect moment, someone to notice your potential. Another year will have passed, and you'll be in roughly the same place, maybe a little more frustrated, a little more resigned to your circumstances. Scenario 2. You'll be amazed at what you built. Not because you achieved perfection or massive success, but because you actually followed through. You took ownership, built your foundation, and showed up consistently. You built things, imperfect things, learning things, things that didn't all work out, but real things. And in the process, you became someone different. Someone who builds instead of waits. Someone who takes action instead of making excuses. Someone who is, unmistakably, their own rescue. The difference between these scenarios isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the choice you make today and then make again tomorrow and the next day. Which scenario do you want to live? The choice, as it always has been, is yours. Final note to the reader. You just invested time reading this book. That was passive consumption. Now make it active creation. Close this book and take one action, any action, toward becoming your own rescue. Not tomorrow, right now. The difference between people who transform their lives and people who just read about transformation is simply this. They close the book and take the first step. Close the book. Take the step. Become your own rescue. Starting now.